Today, we are breaking down a really wild theory that's been making the rounds. It all revolves around a massive U.S. military operation near Venezuela that, according to this theory, is not at all what it seems. In fact, it might just be a secret war against the CIA. Okay, let's get into it. So where does this all start? Well, it kicks off with something we know for a fact. A huge U.S. military deployment. We're talking about 10% of the entire naval force has been parked right off the coast of Venezuela. And make no mistake, this is a massive force. You've got a supercarrier, the newest fighter jets, drones, nuclear subs, and somewhere between 15 and 17,000 people. The source we're looking at calls it the biggest military show of force in that region in decades. Now, if you ask officials, they'll tell you this is all about cracking down on drug trafficking and putting some serious pressure on the Venezuelan government. But the theory we're digging into today, it says that's not the real story, not even close. Yeah, this source claims that the official reason is just a cover story, a pretext, possibly to set up what's known in the intelligence world as a false flag operation. So what exactly is a false flag? Well, according to the source, this isn't some fringe conspiracy idea. It's a standard political tactic, a way to create an incident, blame it on someone else, and use it to justify going to war. And to back this idea up, the speaker points to a couple of really contentious moments in U.S. history, the sinking of the USS Maine and the Gulf of Tonkin incident. Now, it's really important to say that historians still debate what really happened in both cases, but the source presents them as textbook examples of false flags. And this is where the whole theory just takes a wild turn. It suggests that Venezuela is just a distraction, a smokescreen for a conflict that's much bigger and happening much closer to home. The source claims that President Trump's real target isn't the government in Venezuela. Nope, the real target is an American agency, the CIA. This really lays out the core of the whole argument. On one hand, you have the stated public goal, go after drug traffickers. But on the other, you have this theory that the real goal is to bankrupt the CIA, an agency the source claims President Trump saw as a deep state enemy. That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How does that even work? Well, the answer, according to this theory, is the most shocking claim of all. So, the source makes this absolutely explosive claim that the CIA is funded by a massive, secret, and illegal enterprise, and this whole naval operation is designed specifically to shut that enterprise down. And there it is, the central accusation. The theory is that the CIA isn't fighting the global drug trade, it's secretly running it. The profits are then supposedly used to fund all sorts of covert operations around the world, completely off the books and with zero oversight. So what's the evidence for such an incredible claim? Well, this is where it gets a little strange. The source points to Hollywood movies. He brings up the action comedy Two Guns and the Tom Cruise movie American Made, which is based on a true story. He presents these films as if they're revealing a hidden reality. It's a pretty big leap, but that's the evidence provided. So if you follow this line of thinking, the conclusion is that by blockading the drug routes in the Caribbean, President Trump isn't just fighting crime, he's actually choking off the CIA's secret independent piggy bank. But okay, let's just say for a second that the CIA is making billions from a secret drug empire. Where does all that cash go? Well, the theory brings in one last, very powerful player to complete this puzzle. The source is very careful to make a distinction here. We're not talking about London, the capital of the UK. We're talking about a tiny 1 square mile area inside it called the City of London. And it's described as this sort of sovereign financial kingdom with its own mayor, its own police force, and its own laws, almost completely separate from the rest of the country. And here is the final connection. The theory claims that while the CIA is doing the dirty work on the ground, it's the financial wizards in the City of London who launder all the money, making billions in illegal profits look clean and legitimate. So, let's just recap this whole incredible theory. Step 1. A massive U.S. naval force shows up in the Caribbean. Step 2. They say it's about drugs, but the real target is the CIA's secret funding. Step 3. That funding supposedly comes from the CIA itself controlling the global drug trade. And Step 4. All those profits are laundered through the powerful, independent financial hub known as the City of London. So what do you make of all this? Is it a completely baseless conspiracy theory? Or is it a glimpse into the hidden machinery of how global power actually works?
The source we examine today certainly doesn't give us any hard proof, but it does leave you with a fascinating question. How much of what we see on the world stage is just performance?